It started when Government Senator Georgia Marshall, during the Senate's motion to adjourn today, placed the grassroots People's Campaign movement in her crosshairs by claiming certain media, along with the People's Campaign, were a part of a combined opposition. Additionally, she questioned whether or not the appearance of the People's Campaign officials on Gary Moreno's May 11th show was truly paid for by the campaign, despite repeated announcements by the station that the campaign had purchased their 90-minute slot. The show had centered on emails exchanged between Finance Minister E.T. Bob Richards and Canadian officials involved with the redevelopment of the airport. The minister later appeared in a separate show with Gary Moreno to refute the claims 3 days later. Speaking to ZBM News outside of the chamber, Mrs. Marshall had this to say.
Opposition of the PLP, the anti-People's Campaign, I have to call it that because it certainly is not respectful of the democratic process in this country, and also the combined effect of those two and certain media outlets.
She was further angered by comments made in the chamber by opposition Senator Diallo Rebane.
You know, I heard Senator Rebane call our current position a calamity. And that is exactly where we were in 2012. But I'm pleased to see that this government is doing all it can to turn around what we were left with.
Asked to justify her characterization of the combined opposition.
Well, I am concerned about that particular broadcast. Because certainly it did not appear that any disclaimers were included to ensure that people were aware that it was not a journalistic feature, but rather a paid political broadcast.
Mrs. Marshall expressed concern over what she saw as a failure by this company to state clearly that the broadcast in question was a paid broadcast. However, she was wrong.
But I don't recall the ticker running on the first broadcast. Well, I did hear a considerable portion of the interview, and the part that I heard certainly did not have any disclaimer.
However, both the senator's memory and facts appear to have failed her in this case, as anyone tuning into Gary's show that night would have heard this reminder more than once.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. It's not actually Let's Talk. It's a special paid program put on by the People's Campaign, joining us here tonight.
And would have seen this ticker constantly running on the bottom of the screen.
The evidence that we have contained in the documentation supports.
Meanwhile, Bermuda Broadcasting Company Chief Executive Officer Rick Richardson today confirmed that the broadcast of the People's Campaign on May the 11th was entirely a paid broadcast. Tari, Trott reporting for ZBM News 9.